Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Cosmic Conspiracies. I've got a mind-blowing list of clips you're not going to want to miss. So without further ado, let's see them jewels.
What? What? What was that? You guys. I got that. I got that. What? What? What was that? You guys. I got that. I got that. What? What? What was that?
Wow, I don't know, man. My initial reaction to this, I thought it was probably some type of like lightning strike or something, but then again, does lightning strike in space? I don't know how that works, man. I'm not sure, but that's pretty wild.
Boulder tracks are seen on the moon, all over the place. And that's weird enough, but how do boulders roll for miles and then go uphill, like in this photo? And since the days of Aristotle, astronomers have seen strange lights appear on the surface of the moon, sometimes visible with the naked eye. NASA even reported that between the years 1540 and 1967, there were 570 sightings of light flashes on the moon that couldn't be explained. Sightings of strange lights continue to this day. The Aristarchus crater was photographed in 1992, and it shows a glowing blue light, now called the Blue Gem. And this anomaly has been seen by Earth-based telescopes every few years since. Some have even speculated it's a fusion reactor. And these events of mysterious light and mist happen so frequently that there's even a name for them: transient lunar phenomena, or TLPs. But things get even more weird. There are plenty of photographs of what appear to be artificial objects on the surface of the moon. Towers that reach several miles high, pyramids, symmetrical structures. These have been photographed by astronomers, probes, even the astronauts themselves. And the biggest anomaly of all? Why haven't we gone back to the moon? Sergeant Carl Wolf was working as a technician for the Air Force, and he was repairing equipment that transferred images from a lunar satellite. Those photos, according to Sergeant Wolf, showed artificial structures on the moon, what he described as a base. And this is corroborated by another technician working with Wolf. And Wolf wasn't a UFO, ET, moon theory guy. He was just a tech. He said he was excited to see the pictures on the news and have NASA explain what they were. He was surprised when the photos never turned up. The photos were found in a very early release from NASA. These structures are very large and very tall. You can even see they cast shadows. And these are photos I'd like to learn more about. But I can't. They no longer exist. Now, almost immediately after landing on the moon, the Apollo 11 crew said they saw something that shook them up. Watch the press conference they gave when they returned. These men aren't acting like they made history or had a life-changing experience.
It's a beginning of a new age.
They look sad, frightened, uncomfortable, even depressed. Why? Is there a reason we haven't returned to the moon? And could it be that the Apollo missions discovered something that ancient cultures knew centuries ago? Something that reputable scientists believe is the only answer to this list of mysteries. That the moon is not what it seems or what we've been told. The moon is hollow, artificially constructed, and appeared in Earth's orbit from somewhere else, far away.
Makes sense to me.
Does it make sense to you? What can science explain about the hollow moon spaceship theory? Well, the formation of the moon is still unknown, so score theory 1, science 0. The density problem is said to be because after the giant impact, The Earth's upper mantle formed the moon. The mantle is much less dense than the core. Okay, the problem with this is the giant impact theory probably isn't what happened. And the theory about the Earth and the moon forming out of that big donut shape?
In geometry, that's called a torus.
Torus. Well, that wouldn't explain the density discrepancy. We're told the moon ringing like a bell is because the moon is much less dense, and the moon's rock has much less water. So vibrations reverberate longer and farther. This can't be proven, but okay. The perfect eclipses? Well, here's where science wins. The eclipses aren't exact. They're close, but not perfect. Besides, the moon is drifting farther away from the Earth every year, so eclipses are becoming less and less perfect all the time. And whether the moon arrived 14,000 years ago or was formed billions of years ago, it was much closer to the Earth, so it was much larger in the sky. Now, NASA claims that we know the moon isn't hollow because of seismic observations. And that's fair, but it's still conjecture. Look, we don't know for sure what's at the center of the Earth, much less what's at the center of the moon.
If there's anything at all.
Right. Now, the structures are said to be shadows or optical illusions.
Nope.
And the lights are from meteor impacts or reflections from glassy patches on the surface.
Nope.
But the bottom line is this. Yes, the hollow moon spaceship theory is a wild one. I admit that. And many of the anomalies found on the moon can be explained. The explanations aren't perfect, but they're enough to satisfy skeptics. And I consider myself a skeptic. But I'm open-minded. I just want to know the truth. And when I started researching this story, I thought it would be a fun ride, a pure tinfoil hat experience that we could button up with science. That's not what happened. There's just so much unknown and unexplainable that something doesn't feel right about what we've been told about the moon. But, as always, the space agencies and the governments they serve are very selective about the images and information they release. So, I have a message for them. For NASA, the European Space Agency, Russia, China, Elon Musk, Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos, and anyone with the resources to put people back on the moon. The message is this. If you want us to believe your explanations, you're going to have to prove it.
This is actually one of my favorite channels on YouTube. The Y-Files. The guy does a really good job just creating a story and telling it. And then at the end, he kind of gives his own interpretation and explanation of how he feels about the situation. As far as the hollow moon thing, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty interesting. He kind of left out some big important things in that theory, though, because NASA sometime in like the 60s had shot a probe to the moon. And when it hit the moon, when it landed, they said it rung like a bell for like an hour. So they actually tried to test that again, and they sent an even bigger probe. And when it hit, the moon was said to have rung like a gong for like 3 hours, which that kind of kicked off the whole, is the moon hollow?
You want to hear another conspiracy theory that you probably don't know? It's going to blow your mind?
Let's do it.
So, Monster Energy. The M, it looks like a claw, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you look closely, you'll see that the strokes of the M don't fully connect right. So yeah, each stroke looks like a 1, But actually it's a sign in Hebrew that means 6. So the 3 strokes together, it gives us 666 by coincidence. And as you know, that's the devil's number, right? But that's not all. Because when you really look at the monster logo, there's this O with like a cross right in it. I think you should really save this video because it will be censored, like for sure. So doesn't that seem weird for a brand that apparently has nothing to do with religion? They say it's like a coincidence that when you drink the can upside down, the cross is inverted, like an occult symbol. It adds something else to their logo, referencing the devil. And wait, don't forget their slogan, Unleash the Beast. All this put together makes you think, right?
Yeah.
The slogan, the logo, and the cross on top. It must really be intentional on their part. But honestly, why did Monster decide to brand themselves like this? I've linked photos that show all this clearly on this video. If you're curious, follow me. Click here on more and on photos.
I heard this theory a while back. I actually used to be a heavy Monster drinker. I used to love the green Monsters. And I heard about this, and to me it's a little too many coincidences or it to not be intentional. I don't know, but it does seem very suspect. And then the can is designed that when you take a drink, you're literally turning the cross upside down. Again, it seems pretty suspicious to me. I'm not sure that's all just coincidence.
These temples in India are just, they're mind-blowing. The Kailash temples of India. The Kailash temple is literally a mountain that's carved from the outside going in. If the first cut is off by 1 millimeter, you can't finish the structure to perfection. This is evidence of some type of either super guided laser technique. Some of them go back thousands of years, and I believe they're directly related to these Anunnaki people who created this Atlantean civilization.
Check out this video of this laser etching tool making a traditional Indian design in solid rock. Look at this final product. Isn't it absolutely exquisite? Now you'll see in the next few clips how it is almost impossible that these structures created in India with these intricate and absolutely insane details were done by hand and chisel, when they look almost exactly to how that rock inscription was created. And here's another example of that and how absolutely amazing this technology is and always was, and possibly was used in the ancient times. But nonetheless, let me know what you think in the comments, and be sure to follow Question Antiquity for more.
Really makes you think some of these ancient structures, again, weren't built the way that they tell us. And a lot of those structures in India, they are like more detailed and intricate than any of the stuff in Egypt. The pyramid, the Sphinx, the obelisk, the hieroglyphs, a lot of that stuff in India, you see those structures and it really makes you think that they were using some type of lasers or something. It's just really hard to believe that that type of stuff was carved out with a chisel and hammer.
Common sense is at an all-time low, and denial is a motherfucker. That's why I'm going to present you with the facts and expect you to do the heavy lifting with your critical thinking. First and foremost, the Mississippi River is the true Nile. In Isaiah 11:15, it says, "And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the 7 streams, and make men go over dry shod." That's what it says. The Nile does not do this. But you know what does? The Mississippi. Second point, the Mississippi still runs through the ancient cities that it ran through in the beginning of time: Thebes, Cairo, and Memphis. You have been made to believe that we named our cities after modern day Egypt, when in fact that is not true. Modern day Egypt named its cities after our cities in ancient America, which is also ancient Egypt. And before this video gets too long, I'm just going to add in a final point. Did you know that the Americas have more pyramids than the entire planet combined? Yeah. We'll get into the Grand Canyon on the next video.
So I'm not sure if there's any type of evidence or anything to back that theory up, but I just found the video and everything pretty interesting.
Hey guys, check out this amazing video of what looks like a flying saucer flying through Bogota, Colombia. The video was captured by a man on an airplane heading back home from the United States to Colombia, when suddenly he was just recording the clouds and this thing appeared out of nowhere. He said that he had no intention of recording a UFO or seen it coming from the distance. He says that this video was absolute luck, and now we want to share it with you guys to ask you guys, what do you think? Check out this amazing UFO sighting in Colombia, guys. Wow. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Don't forget to share, like, and repost, and comment below, guys. I want to know what you think about this.
I mean, that seems like a UFO to me. Unless it's like computer generated or something, then I'm not sure what it is. Something unidentified flying in the sky.
There are massive federal programs that were instituted in the late 1970s that pay states trillions of dollars to tear families apart. Like in Texas, we get 66 cents on the dollar put into the Texas Treasury for every dollar of child support that's paid. So the state is now highly incentivized to issue the maximum amount of child support. Almost all divorces got 50-50 prior to the 1980s, and there was this skyrocketing of divorces where one parent loses custody, and that was to maximize Title IV-D reimbursements to the states.
The state is profiting off of child support?
Correct. And in most states, the Judicial Retirement Fund is funded from this money. So the more child support that's issued from the family courts, the larger the judicial retirement. It's a massive program. It's the size of the largest defense programs. So the incentives are absolutely huge.
Even married people, to get them to break up and then have to pay each other child support?
Absolutely, yeah. So, because you would think the best child support would just be 50-50 custody and let people raise their kids. The best child support is to raise your own kid. That's the best child support. But they don't do that. Most states actually have laws prohibiting the courts from doing that. Texas has a family code in which it's assumed to be in the child's best interest that one parent get 24% of the time. And the reason 24% was chosen, precisely, is it maximizes Title IV-D reimbursement to the state at 24%. So there are fathers out there with 49% of the time that are paying maximal child support. I have a friend of mine, him and his wife came to an agreement to do 50-50 parenting, no child support, because he watches the kids a lot while she travels for her work. And so it all worked out, and they decided it's just better to do it this way. The state of Texas sent an attorney to argue in the case that they should not be allowed to do 50-50 custody.
I read a story about some celebrity guy who had to pay massive child support, and then he and the wife both went to the court together as friends and said, hey, he's no longer working and doesn't have this money anymore, so we both agree it should be lower, and the court said no.
They won't do it.
Because they get a cut.
They get a huge kickback, yeah. Title IV-E pays the states to adopt out orphans. Whenever CPS takes a child from someone and then adopts them into a good family, they get Title IV-E reimbursement funds, and it's a lot of money. It's like $50K per child.
The state gets that money?
Yes, it goes into the state budget.
And where does it come from?
Federal government.
Interesting.
Yep. Massive incentives to split up families. So now you have the majority of children in America are being raised in fatherless homes. We passed 50%.
It sure does seem like there is a system in place, whether intentional or not, to reduce the population.
But also to reduce the political power of the middle class. Right? If you've been to Europe, most of you have been to Europe. I've been to Asia a lot as well. Nobody cares about free speech there.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about gun rights there. There's one place in the world where people care about free speech and gun rights, and that's the American middle class.
Man, so I found that very interesting. It is just crazy that the government is profiting off of almost breaking up homes. I mean, he's saying that they get a percentage of child support that they issue, and certain states are literally by law not allowed to even issue 50-50 custody. That's just crazy to think about. And they do that, obviously, so they can profit. And the fact of them saying that they take kids from families and put them in foster homes and get paid for that as well, that's just crazy to me. But at the same time, everything's about money. So,
I have mentioned this, but like sometimes it's like helpful to sort of reiterate and connect some of the dots, because sometimes people wonder, well, how do you go from this big fleet to actually monetizing the fleet in an autonomous situation? And it's actually a combination of it's like Airbnb and Uber to some degree. So like there'll be some cars that Tesla owns itself, it's kind of like an Uber fashion. But then for the fleet that is owned by our customers, it will be like an Airbnb thing. You can add or subtract your car to the fleet whenever you want. So you can say, like, I'm going away for a week. At just one tap on your Tesla app, your car gets added to the fleet, and it just makes money for you while you're gone. Yeah. You can say you can add it to the fleet for a few hours, for a few days, for a few weeks. Whenever you want it back, you can say, come back, and the car will come right back. And I'm highly confident that it will far exceed the value of, like the revenue made by the owner of the car will far exceed the actual monthly payment. And then Tesla will obviously take a rev share on that, but most of the money will go to the owner of the car. And this is actually going to work. This is what will happen. So Mark my words, this is simply a matter of time. Now, admittedly, I'm a little optimistic sometimes. So I don't have complete lack of self-awareness. But if I wasn't optimistic, this wouldn't exist. I have.
So Tesla, this dude, Elon Musk, is literally like just changing the world. I always wanted to get a Tesla, and now this right here just makes me want to get one even more. And he's saying that the money you would make from that would far exceed your monthly payment on the vehicle, which is just mind-blowing. Because you could literally just go out, lease you a Tesla, put that jewel on robo-taxi, let it drive around, pick people up and drop them off, pay your bill and make a little extra money too. What's even wilder is that this is not like way off in the distant future. This is literally coming out next month. Alright, so that brings me to the end of another episode. Once again, I greatly appreciate anyone who watched the video. Please like, comment, subscribe to help me grow the channel. And I will be back with another episode for you as soon as possible. Till then, take care and stay aware. Peace.